founder of 10xcodercase.com. And if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And today I'm back with another Java topic, and in Java we are gonna learn about wrapper classes. Yeah, we are gonna learn about wrapper classes, and this is also a very interesting topic in Java. So without any delay, let's get started. Jump. Okay, so first we'll see what wrapper classes are and why do we need to use them. Wrapper classes provide a way to use primitive data types like int, boolean as objects. So using wrapper classes, you can make objects of the primitive data types also, that are like int, boolean, char, right? Like this, right? So you can create objects of these primitive data types, right, using the wrapper classes. Sometimes you must use wrapper classes. Why do you need to use wrapper classes? Sometimes you must use them because, for example, when you are working with collection objects like array list, hash set, right, linked list, right, such as array list, where primitive types cannot be used, right, the list can only store objects. So like array list, hash set and all, we learned that we have to give the basically over here the wrapper class, right? We need to give a wrapper class of the primitive data type, or like we need to give a wrapper class of the data type of whose values we want to save in our collection object, right? So we need to give the uh, wrapper class so that we can create objects of primitive data types also, like integer, float, right? And it is very very interesting, right? So we have an example over here. We are importing array list. We have a public class main. We have a main method. Over here we are creating an array list, and we have to pass it the wrapper class, right? We have to pass it the wrapper class, and because we want to save uh, 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 this wrapper, basically whenever we pass the wrapper class, it will save that, like if we want to save integer values in our collection object, we need to give integer wrapper class, right? We need to give the integer wrapper class so that it saves objects of the int data type in the wrapper class, sorry, in our array list, as it can only save objects, right? And then we are adding numbers, so it is not saving numbers, it is actually saving objects that we learned in array list, right? And it is actually saving objects. Why? Because of the wrapper class that we are giving over here. If we give int over here and say that we want to save only, only want to say the number, right? We don't want to save objects in the array list, but we want to save the number only, right? That only an integers in the array list instead of objects of integer, right? If we want to do like that, we are just giving int over here expecting it to save only integers, right? But you'll see it will bring an error because it needs to save objects in a collection type, right? So this is one of the use of wrapper classes, right? So we are getting an error as expected, right? So create a wrapper object, use the wrapper class instead of the primitive type. To get the value, you can use you can just print the object, right? So basically to basically like for example, you like if you want to create a wrapper object, right? You want to create a wrapper object, like for example, you want to say you have a variable, my variable, right? And you want to save object, right? For example, an integer object. Instead of an integer, you want to save an integer object in it, right? So what you'll do, you'll use the wrapper class. You'll do, instead of using int myvar, you'll do integer myvar, right? And equals to a value that will be saved as an integer object in your variable, right? And basically if you want the value, you can just access the object and you'll get the value, right? So over here I have an example, I've commented it. We have a class main, we have a main method, and over here we are giving the integer wrapper class that indicates whatever value will be there will be an integer object. Then we have a double wrapper class over here, my, and the variable name is my double, and whatever value we give over here, that will be saved as a double object. Then we have a character wrapper class that is used for char data type, right? And the variable name is my char, and whatever we give over here will be saved as a character object, right? And then we are printing out all these variables just to get the value. So this will directly work like a normal value, but in reality it will be objects. So over here it is working like normal integers, doubles and characters, but in reality they will be objects, right? So when we basically create objects of a primitive type, we get some useful methods for it also. For example, for if you create basically what we say, if you create like integer object, if you create an integer object, then what will happen, it will have certain methods that you can use on that integer object. Like it will have a int value method, a toString method, a length method, right, a toString and a int value method, not a length method, right? If you create a ra- um a, a object of, for example, a double data type, right? You create an object of a double data type using the double wrapper class. What it will also have certain methods like double value, right, and toString, right? So basically till now we'll just learn two methods. ToString, that is there in every primitive data types object, right? Every primitive data type object, right? And second is uh, whatever the primitive data type is, and then uh, value, right? So for example, you are creating an integer object, it will have a int value because the primitive integer class object, it will have a int value method, that int um, the because int is the primitive data type and then value. Like if you have a double object, you will have a double value method, basically because double is the uh, primitive data type, and then we add value after it. So basically after the primitive data type name of the wrapper class, we get add value, and that will be a method for all our wrapper classes, for example integer, double and character, right? So over here we have an integer object, right? And in this we have its value is 5 and it will be saved as an object. Then we have a double object, double wrapper class over here we are giving, so it will create a double object, and in that it will save a 5.99 as an object. And then similarly we have it by character. And then our integer object had an int value method, right? So the int value method will basically give us its value, it will return its value, right? Like you can directly access it or use the int value method, is one of the same things, right? And similarly there's a double value method in your double object, and then there's a char value method in your char object, right? So this will also return all the values only, so directly you access the object or use these methods, it's one of the same things, right? Then we have the toString method, right? So over here we have class main, main method. Then what we have a this is an integer wrapper class object, right? This is an integer object, my int is an integer object, and we are saving 100 as an object in my int, right? Then what we are doing, we are creating a my string variable that is of string data type, and its value is my int, so my int dot toString. So toString method basically returns a value, returns whatever variable you call it on, right? Whatever object you call it on, it will basically return you an value. Like you call it on an integer an integer object whose value is 100, and that value saved as an object. When you call the toString method on it, it will basically the value is 100, right? And that 100 value is saved as an object. So you do my int dot toString. So what it does, it takes 100, it converts it to a string and returns it, and that we are saving in the string variable my string. Then what we're doing, we are doing system.out.println, my string dot length. So every string data type has a length method, right? Which gives us the length of the string, so we are calling the length method on it. So over here 100 has 3 digits, so that's why it will show us 3, right? So it has given us 3, right? And this was it, guys, for rapper classes. I hope you like this video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you, guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Damn.